This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian. Mission 250.
Welcome to the Mission 250 Filmcast, where we are watching the best movies ever made according to IMDb, and then sometimes also the Cannes Film Festival and internet reviews. This week, we are watching The Substance, which is a brand new movie that came out, this week, last week, depends on where you live. I don't know. So this is the first episode I've ever asked you guys to not talk to me before the episode. I walked out of the theater having mixed feelings about what I suggested you guys do with your lives this week. So let's go with 20 seconds, starting with, that's TC, I think. Let's start with TC.
Can you see the clock?
Yeah, I can see the clock.
Nice. All right, ready?
Yeah,
Ready.
go.
I started out in awe, pretty confused that what I was seeing was real. And then it moved into being intrigued. And then it moved into confusion. And then it moved into off the rails. And then I wasn't really sure what we ended with. And that's the movie for me.
All right.
Was that succinct
fair.
enough?
That is pretty succinct.
That's fair.
I was trying to stay away from all sorts of shit. So, Denny, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, I'm going to reset and ready?
Yep.
Go.
Go. All right. If you can tolerate gore and body horror, you should definitely watch this. It's horror, it's art house, it's comedy, it's fantasy, it's subversive. It has social commentary on movies, on media, on men's perspective on women, on women's perspective on themselves. It goes to places you will never guess, and it's probably the angriest movie I've ever seen, and I think it's a fucking masterpiece.
All right.
Wow.
I didn't get that far, but sure. All right, John, you ready?
Sure.
Ready and go.
Here's my alternative title for this film: Everything in Your Fucking Face all the time. I feel like this film grabbed me back the back of my head, shoved my face into whatever was going on, and screamed, "Look at this! Look at this!" I said, "I see it! I get it! No, keep looking!" This is how this movie made me feel, and I appreciate it.
You appreciate it. Okay.
All
Is that
right.
a positive review? Because that's definitely how I felt, and I really appreciate it.
I agree, yeah.
It was a very tense experience. It was a fucking tense experience, and I have to appreciate that. And me and the other 7 people in the theater, that's a crowd.
Ours
That's a
was-
record number.
Mine
Yeah.
was pretty busy.
Mine was totally full.
for a
Yeah.
Tuesday.
This movie must be, I don't know, just on our sample, it looks like it's getting a lot of buzz, I guess.
It made $3 million over the weekend.
Yeah,
Not great.
so, okay,
Well, I mean, I feel like word of mouth might spread.
it's
It
an
might, and
indie.
we live in cities too.
Yeah,
Like cities
yeah.
will like this. I feel like
Yeah.
the suburbs are not necessary. It's a really art house horror movie,
it
right?
is.
It's
It
like,
is.
But it had a lot of the story mechanisms that you need to keep you. I mean, they really did a good job at the first
Well, let's go
2/3.
spoilers, right?
First
Let's just say
2/3.
spoilers.
Oh, yeah,
was-
let's start spoilers.
was,
Fine.
you know.
But anyway,
Because
generally,
you held
I
off on
think-
saying
I
some
think
shit in your thing.
I
it sounded
did.
like,
I
so.
did.
Yeah.
I
Right,
did.
right.
Not
But-
negative shit. Just like I don't know how much I want to even talk about this movie.
Yeah.
Prior to
yeah.
spoilers, is this all one we would recommend?
No,
That's the hard thing. It's
I
so
don't know.
violent that there's only certain people. Like if
Okay.
you can
Yeah.
tolerate real violent things, like things that make people
And
who like horror movies squirm in their
not just
seats.
and not just violent, but there's an intensity and a gratuitous note to us intentionally. But it's just not. It's there and it's going to be there for a while. It's not like a little bit of flash here or something. No, it's going to be
It's in your face.
this is going to go on for a while.
We know you get it, but we're fucking mad. I felt like this movie was mad at me, and it was like you're going to be fucking punished for the way that you think.
Right, I
Fuck
get it.
you.
I'm sorry.
This is what this
I'm
movie
sorry.
is.
Sorry's not good enough. Sorry doesn't change the way things are. You're going to look at this.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I don't think I've ever seen a movie that did that, where it was. I felt that the movie was angry at me, and I kind of thought that was kind of awesome in a weird fucking
Interesting.
way.
I didn't get that vibe.
I didn't get an angry. I definitely got like, we're going to fucking show you this. This is what we want you to see. And you're going to fucking look at it. I certainly got a sense of command about the film. Not
Yeah,
necessarily
that's
that it was
a good way
angry.
to put it, John. Yeah, I don't know. It definitely makes you feel a certain way throughout.
Yeah.
I mean, there's pretty much no spot in the movie where you're not just like, I don't know if I like this, or I don't know if I
Right,
don't
right.
like this. Am I supposed to like this? I'm not supposed to like this. And, that kind of stuff.
I kind of like it,
Yeah. But then I gotta like it. And then oh, what the fuck is going on? And then it just kind of get off the rails, though, at some point. And I didn't dislike it then either. But there were many times near the end where I was like, really? This movie's still going? You know? And,
what was your theater like during the last part?
People were confused. I could hear
people were laughing really hard in the theater.
When that blood was spraying, I was dying.
Oh, I had tears after that scene in my face because I was laughing so hard.
And just wouldn't stop. I was laughing hysterically, and there were others in the theater that were too.
Yeah.
As soon as that zoomed in on that one woman in the crowd screaming at the top of her lungs because somebody makes a noise at what the fuck's going on stage. Oh my God. Plus, it led up to it so perfectly. Like I laughed pretty frequently in this movie. The scene where the last monstrosity starts putting earrings on itself, and then does a little dance.
I was still I was just horrified. I was
laughing pretty hard.
I didn't get the comedy. This film felt so intense to me. It almost was. Well, wait. So we're way well in the spoiler territory.
So you want to start from the beginning? What do you think?
Well, we can. Yeah.
This movie slowly ramps into the most insane ending of any movie I can think of.
Yeah, I really
enjoyed the beginning of them showing a Hollywood star being created. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like them showing that was a great opening sequence of showing the star being created, and then just traffic, how people liked her, but then they didn't. It was a great way to show, just kind of set the scene. Well, meanwhile,
gives us a lot of information without using the sound instead of
and then and the film ends
there's
up
no
back
Scorsese
there, which is nice.
talking over it,
Yeah.
So
I did like that right from the beginning. That was like, oh, somebody's put a lot of thought into this already. You can tell that they're like.
And then the second scene is the egg injection scene, which is also really damn interesting.
Which was really weird. And then I knew what I was in for. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh boy, here we go.
I was nervous from the get-go because the sound was so cut out in that scene. I was like, they're going to jump scare me. I don't know what the fuck's going on here. Yeah. So I was nervous that entire scene.
It's just an egg. It's just an egg. What are they going to eat it?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do with the egg.
I was in a theater where the sound was not as loud as I would have liked.
It's too bad.
I think the IMAX theaters are louder.
How fucking unusual.
Yeah. And so I didn't get, the sound was good. It was Dolby Atmos. It was all over the place, but it just wasn't loud, or wasn't in your face loud. And I'm watching all the shit, like you said, John, in your face, and it just wasn't the same.
Did it not? The loudest scene of the movie was when the blood starts coming out of the arm. Was that loud enough?
That was loud.
That was loud enough where people were roaring and not feeling embarrassed about what they were doing because it was so loud.
It was definitely an interesting concept for a film, I have to say. I didn't think they would show off I didn't see it coming, honestly.
How could you?
No,
you couldn't guess.
Ian,
but when it goes by the mirror and it's like, fuck, I laughed at that too. It was so hard not to laugh at that point at everything. Yeah. Because it was just
when she
off
cut
the
paper thing out and put it on her face and put the dress out.
Oh God.
Laughing.
I couldn't get to, maybe if there were enough people in the theater, maybe
people were nervous in your theater.
I was tense. I couldn't get to laughter. And so it was very odd.
Did you laugh at all? There was some obvious.
No,
really.
No, I know, but I was fucking too like.
Oh, I was
intense. I know.
The neighbor. I laughed at the neighbor whenever he came over and hit on her, and then eventually he's trying to get.
And then she comes up.
Great,
he opens up and it's the old woman. And he's like, "Oh fuck,
fuck, yeah."
I should, but I didn't.
I laughed at the scene where she her ear was falling off at the end, and the guy comes in. He's like, whoa, 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 and she couldn't hear him, and he didn't even notice her fucking face is falling apart.
Right.
Oh God.
Man, I didn't. I was just way too tense. This movie got me way too tense.
That's awesome.
So that
it's crazy how it can do that, because some people will hate this, some people will love it, some people will be terrified by it, some people will think it's a comedy.
I wasn't very scared by it. I was more kind of squeamish.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Well, it doesn't. It feels. It definitely has a surreal aspect to it already. Like the whole premise is preposterous, right? So that helps it not be too real horror. And so it's still, man. I don't think I felt. This kind of tension that the film had me in was hard. But
did it beat Uncut Gems?
No. Oh shit, that's a good. Well, I didn't see. Did I see? I didn't see.
I don't think any of us did.
Yeah. I think seeing that one in the theater would have been rough. In a good way. but you're right. That's kind of it's a good comparison in terms of a steady tension throughout the film. So even when it was comedic for me, like when they play the also Sprach there Zarathustra, the 2001 theme. That can only be comedy now. You can't do that with any seriousness, right? Right. So that threw me for a loop that they were playing that, because oh shit, they somewhere people think this might be funny.
Me and TC are laughing.
I was.
Right? I know, right? I wasn't though. I was completely I was still thrown because
and then they show these beautiful women holding their
no
nose,
shirts
and
on.
like,
what?
And they're like, and they're like looking at each other, like, is this correct? I don't know if this is correct.
Right.
It's pretty. It's so ridiculous.
Right. And then there is one shot where I couldn't help but laugh a little bit when the blood smacks the ass of what they show the thonged butt of one of the women's, and the blood smacking into it and jiggling it. So that was that comedic effect.
I got one good laugh out of you, John, in the weirdest scene in the movie.
But I know it's fucking weird. But yeah, I just, this movie had me just wound up the whole time for 2.5 hours.
That's awesome.
So it was hard not to see the comedy. It was hard to see the comedy in it, but I definitely can see where that's coming from too. I think just all those in your face shots. Dennis Quaid in your face. He was
great.
He was so good.
He was perfect.
Oh, they were all good.
Oh, he was awesome.
But every character is that you're up in their face, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, it makes
his urinal, he's peeing on you basically the first time you see him.
Yeah. Right. But all the characters, whether it's the neighbor, whoever, all the interactions are right up in your face.
Yeah.
And the same thing when they're showing the body parts, whether bad or good, supposedly, it's so intense in your face that it robs it of whatever else it might have. It just has an intensity. It's not it's not sexy that you're looking at, even the young woman.
She starts off sexy, but then there's the cooking scene where Demi Moore is stuffing the chicken, and it's intercutting between her and the inside of Margaret's legs.
That's when it went off the rails.
I was like,
that's when it went off the rails
gross.
for me. When the egg was all going all over the place and all in her. Oh man, I was just like, this. What is going on here? And then it didn't get back anywhere to a normal place. From then on, it basically went off the rails.
Really, I think I don't know, Denny, if you have a good experience to compare this to. I mean, like you said, there you can say, okay, this film has, at least for me, a steady intensity throughout. So Uncut Gems is a good.
I think the closest thing I came to, and just because of one metric, is Dogtooth, where there are scenes where I'm laughing hysterically because I think what I'm seeing is ridiculous, and then it quickly goes to me being disgusted by something, like that kind of really sharp turn where it's really dark comedy, where a lot of people probably wouldn't find it very funny, but it's some people might find whatever's going on here pretty damn funny, and then bam, she's ripping her teeth out, right? That's kind of the same kind of thing.
I mean, that was a great scene.
That was the one part
over the top and not necessary, but sure.
My knees came above my head, literally. I was in the theater, balancing myself because my entire body was don't look at this.
No, and again, the film over and over and fucking over.
They're like, are you looking?
Right, exactly.
Are you looking?
It could do it once. It could just do one tooth, but no,
we gotta go
going to do multiple.
And we're gonna go slow.
Yeah, each time.
That's why I thought the movie was angry at the viewer, because it was punishing us. Doing it once would be enough to get the point across. But this movie's I know you know what's coming, but I don't fucking like you, and I'm going to make you watch it again.
Exactly. I mean, this film could have been an hour and a half shorter if it wanted to be in terms of really just the plot.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think the film wanted to do that. It over and over, it chooses to wallow in whatever it is it's showing you, and forcibly so. And that becomes again, that becomes this level of intensity that sort of makes this film rather unusual. I think if it didn't do that, it wouldn't be intense the way it is, I guess. It would be maybe interesting, but I don't think it would have that, like you said, Denny, you wouldn't get the feeling the film is angry at you. I wouldn't get this feeling that the film is just intensely wanting me to watch it, a lot of it, and not escape from it. And I think it wants you also
and I think it works for the edit, like you're saying, but I think it dwells on those things so long that it wants you to think why am I dwelling on this? And the
Right,
fact that you're
yeah.
dwelling on it, like that's the initiation scene it's got to be over half an hour long, right? When it zooms
Right.
into the bathroom, and then by the time that scene is over, it zooms out. I was like, holy shit, that was a really, really long scene. I don't know exactly how long it was, but it felt like it was really long. But
It was,
I mean,
yeah.
that's the whole basis of the movie, and the whole,
Right.
how you could think about it. Like the whole movie is about this aging person who is either coming to terms or not coming to terms with her own body and her career and like all this stuff, and her choosing to reject what's actually happened. She's like rejecting reality in that scene, basically.
Right.
And like everything else that happens in the movie is based on her decision there. And you can think about how that happens to every woman, especially the women who work in the movie industry or anywhere where you're like front facing and people have expectations of you and things like that.
Sure.
And the fact that it sits on it for so long, it's not just like, oh, you can think about it if you want. I don't care.
And-
movies like, I want you to
and-
fucking think about it because it's important. Like you have to think about it.
And not just women anywhere where your physical appearance and your youthfulness is your value.
That's true, but that is skewed heavily
right.
towards women.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I know. Yeah, you're right. And I wonder did Naomi watch it?
No,
Okay.
I'm not sure she could handle it.
I'm glad that I'm glad that mine didn't come with me. Yeah.
I know. I just would still be interested in what a woman seeing this would think.
I do.
And that, but
I saw some of the women look as they walked out, and there was a few laughing, and then there were a couple that didn't look so happy.
We had a pretty mixed audience, men and women in ours, and people
we did
were enjoying it. Like everyone liked it. There's no walkouts. Almost everyone was laughing by
no
the
one
end.
walked out. Yeah.
yeah, we didn't have any walkouts, and we had that grand total of 7 people for.
Hey, but that's more than usual.
Yeah.
So good on you, John.
We're talking a 9:30 start on a Wednesday night.
Wow,
pretty good.
That is late. That is really.
So
late.
you're out of there after midnight, probably.
Dude, this is all I got. This is my life, you guys, you fuckers. This is what I have to do to go see a film in the theaters right now.
Stay up super late.
Did you ever get angry at me for recommending this at any point during the movie?
No,
You're like it's like 11:30 at night. You're like, God damn it, Denny! Why am I watching this boob fall out of this person's face?
I mean, come on, that was so
Right.
funny.
Right,
though.
I
That
didn't-
was
I didn't
the
have
most
that on my
insane
bingo
thing. Is there
card.
going to be
Holy
another
shit.
person?
It's
nope,
a tit.
just a boob.
It's an eyeball boob with a little snake in the back. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's just a boob.
And it
Looks
dwelled
like a
on that.
sperm.
It showed it like
Yeah.
pooping it
Yeah,
out.
dude.
You're like, what is this?
What
Why
is this? Oh
focusing
my
on
god!
this?
It's a
god!
boob.
It is what I think it is.
Yeah, no, I don't.
God.
I still like going. I still like being able to go to the theater and see and have an experience. I mean, this film
was
is
an
definitely
experience.
It's a fucking
definitely an
ride.
experience. Yeah. So yeah, I don't. But I wasn't resentful about that. But man, I'm tired and grumpy the next day. Holy shit. But yeah. But still, like 7 people there. Usually when I do this, it's like me. I get the whole place to myself. So this was unusual. It still is relatively early in its release. Like this is its second week out, maybe.
This coming weekend. So when this comes out, it'll have been out for 2 weekends.
Okay, yeah.
How about how, like, if you hadn't brought it up, I don't think I would have even seen this. I haven't seen any marketing for it. I haven't.
Yeah, that's
The only reason I
been,
knew about it is because people send me trailers of movies that look cool. Like they're active on YouTube, like looking for new trailers,
wow.
and they watch all of them. And then if something like this comes up, they send it to me, and they're like,
yeah.
"You
Oh,
like
that's
this?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I would."
Hell yeah, I like this.
I had fun watching. I haven't been to the theater in a while to see a horror film, so I enjoyed watching all the horror film trailers that preceded it. Not that I know if I want to watch any of those films. but
Yeah,
the
that
Smile-
Nosferatu.
That looks
Yeah,
good.
oh yeah, that's gonna be
That's
gonna
going to
good.
be a epic
Yeah.
one, huh?
The Smile too is scary.
Yeah, that
I-
looked kind of creepy.
Have you seen the
man.
first one?
I mean,
No.
No.
It's pretty good.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah?
Fun
I mean,
popcorn horror movie.
I mean, just the premise is pretty horrifying. You know, just okay, they come at you and they're smiling. That's pretty scary.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway,
Did you guys have
there's
the Ray Fiennes, Pope Monk, whatever trailer beforehand?
No.
It looks pretty good. It's Edward Berger, the guy who did All Quiet on the Western Front. It's his next movie. It's an English movie. It's about like freaking a pope dying and like what happens to the power struggle and stuff. And
when a pope dies? Oh, that'd be
yeah, it looks
interesting.
really
That'd be
cool.
fun.
Yeah.
As lame as that might sound, it looks good.
No. It's well, I imagine it's pretty neat. Like lots of intrigue and infighting or whatever, and then maybe it gets violent somehow.
I think the movie.
and
That's
a
the
lot
way
of
the
fun.
trailer made it look like it was going to get.
Yeah. There was some like the third film in a horror series that really looked terrible. I can't remember what it was called. It was a Santa Claus. The guy was like Santa
I didn't
Claus,
see that one.
and he was like some evil Santa Claus.
Terrifier?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Terrifier is Terrifier
Yeah,
3.
those movies are not good.
They did not look good.
No. There's a cult
But
following
yeah,
because they're made for like $0, and the guy who directs
Okay.
it is like pretty good at practical gore effects, but that's all those movies exist
Okay.
for, and they're bad. But
Gotcha. There's Y2K, which looked interesting. Did you see that one?
that one looks decent.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Australian one or something, New Zealand.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
I don't know.
It's gonna have a nostalgia effect,
Yeah.
right? To
Yeah.
it.
It
for
could be
any of us
cool
who was
for us
there,
because
but-
we lived through that time.
Right,
And I
right.
remember being almost basically their age right around then.
Yeah.
So that's probably another reason why I don't want to see it.
maybe. So-
Yeah, I don't know.
Trying to think of other. So this movie reminded me
how
of
about-
Brazil. Going back to the movie, speaking of all like
Oh.
the facial close-ups and like the long corridors and like men coming and confronting you and being like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is
I
what you
can
should
see
do."
that.
Blah blah blah. I'm a businessman.
And like
Right,
in your
right,
face and right up in your
Right
face.
in your face.
Yeah.
It's like the fisheye lens.
Like,
That's a
or-
good point. Yeah.
Yep. Kubrick does that once in a while too with some of his characters, where you just feel like they're in your space,
Mhm.
and that helps make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, but the thing that this film did is, I think with Brazil, I don't think that was like this film. Everybody, all the characters, every fucking buddy was in your space, whoever it was. Like, I mean, it was like.
Did you feel like Quaid was going to grab your ass, John? I think that's the point, right?
Yeah. But
I mean,
even when,
his suits
even
were
when
pretty
we're-
fucking cool
Yeah,
looking. I
he
have
looked
to
good
say.
besides
yeah.
his entire head situation. The rest of it, he looked pretty
Yeah.
cool.
No, but even like the young actress is being beautiful or whatever, you're still way in her face to make it uncomfortable.
I wouldn't
It's,
call it
it's
uncomfortable.
Well, I still felt that again. It just to me, it's like
Those
just
parts-
this level of intensity.
I would
sort
have
of
felt more
like
comfortable
moved on.
watching those scenes at home, not sitting next to like
Yeah, maybe.
people in the theater.
Yeah.
You know,
It was a little odd.
yeah, it's like
gotta
we're all
say.
watching this together. The movie is
Yep.
being creepy for a purpose. I understand, but it's creepy.
Definitely one to bring your parents to, Denny. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
It's a Christmas movie.
It's
this
for
is
kids, too.
It's a
It
Christmas
really is.
movie.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
totally,
bring your kids,
totally
bring your
is gonna-
parents.
I did tell a couple of my friends that have kids they should watch this movie, but to make sure that whatever gates they need to lock to make sure the kids do not walk in on this one.
Oh,
This is one of the
Jesus.
ones
Yeah.
you do not want a kid to see any single
Oh,
second of certain parts of this movie. It would fucking scar
Right.
them for life.
You might end up without a kid. Honestly.
Because Child Protective Services would come and take
Yeah,
them away.
right. Exactly. Exactly.
shit.
Yeah.
They go to school,
Pretty bad.
describe what they
Yeah.
saw, and then you'd be gone.
So a boob.
Be like,
I think it's a boob. It looks like my mommy's boob, but it fell out of the ear area of
a
this
goblin?
massive monster that had the face of Demi Moore on its back.
Was the front face Sue and the
thought
back
it-
face was
I thought it
Elizabeth?
was Sue. I thought
Was
the
the back
face
one
was,
Sue?
The back one was Elizabeth, I think.
Yeah, the back one I thought was Elizabeth, and then the front was
Front
Sue.
one
I think
Sue?
so.
Oh my god!
It was hard to tell,
Yeah,
but like
that's
the
what I thought.
voices, I kind of caught it from the
'Cause it's
voices
like-
a little bit.
Because I thought Sue was already like she's in her old state, so or she's, but I don't know.
Demi Moore's,
Anyway.
if that was Demi in the back of that thing, her
Yeah.
face wide open was pretty fucking
Was
scary.
Scary.
It was
Oh, yeah, that
scary.
was scary.
Absolutely.
Totally scary.
100%.
Ugh.
Just that idea of like
I mean,
being stuck
Demi
in
Moore,
a monster.
Demi Moore
like,
throughout
what the fuck?
was
Oh, yeah.
ridiculously good in
Dude,
this.
if
Like,
there was
I mean,
any movie that's a horror movie that deserves a best actress nomination, it's fucking,
No.
she deserves it. She's not going to fucking get
Well,
it, but I mean, holy shit.
I mean, this year, like, you see, you're always going to have Toni Collette in Hereditary,
right.
But like,
This is there, though.
Or-
This
but-
is there.
you think?
I think it's there. Dude,
I guess so. I guess you're right.
it's-
The intensity,
she's fucking,
and
she's 60-something years old. She's fucking naked for like
She looks
15
great.
minutes.
I know.
Looks great.
The fearlessness
But, I
of
mean,
it
like, just
is,
some of
is impressive.
the scene where she like bails on the date and she's wiping the makeup
Yeah.
off and she keeps going back in to put on more makeup. That was
Like
devastating
Joker.
in the middle of this fucked up weird horror movie. Like that stood by
Yeah.
itself.
You're right.
She was
No,
in the
it was really
prosthetic
good.
stuff. Like she was in there. She did all the
Oh,
physical
that was
stuff.
her. That was her in the. Oh Jesus!
6 to 9 hours, 6 to 9.5 hours of makeup to get in that shit. 2
Holy
hours to get out.
fuck.
She did all
Has
of it.
she not done anything for a while? Did she come out of retirement or something?
Yeah, I feel like
didn't know
she's been off.
She apparently
for a
picks and
while.
chooses projects.
Oh, just now it's very selective. So, well, which I'm sure she can be.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I
Plus, I think it's harder for a woman her
Especially,
age to get
like-
projects. You know, it's part of the
Right,
point.
Right,
Right,
it's
that's
part
right.
of this,
Like, yeah.
the whole point
Yeah.
of the movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
But no, you're right. She was, and again, everybody in this film. That is another thing that helps immensely. Is everybody, all the acting, they were full on into it. They were,
and perfect for creating whatever the fuck they created. Right. This is like a pretty unique piece of whatever you want to call it. It's like
whatever you want to call it.
Like it stands alone. You can compare it to individual other things, but like I watch a lot of these types. I love this type of movie. This is like my favorite. I mean, like T-Tane's kind of like this, but kind of a lot different. But
T-Tane wasn't as intense.
Right.
T-Tane just had moments of real weirdness. Right. This is like
moments of fun, like being funny with the violence, strangeness, that sort of thing.
Right. Or and tension, horror with T-Tane.
And then also you can pull like human moments out of it in certain parts, and it kind of works with like good acting and good effects, like just a weird swirl of weirdness.
This movie is like, or at least for me especially, it was so intense. That's all, and not in a bad way, but that's all I got out of it. It was just so like full on from start to finish. Once you got past the Hollywood Walk of Fame scene at the beginning, it was just like pedal to the metal for just like, no stopping. Whatever was going on, it was full on all the time. And that was kind of amazing, but yeah, very weird.
The soundtrack helps, really I think. Well, soundtrack was really cool. Like
it was good. Not too overbearing. It just was there when it needed.
It was like electronic noise. Like there was barely any like notes or music in it. Right. It was like fuzz and like beats,
synth noise,
and it was alienating and futuristic. Like it gave a tone of like, is this in the future? I don't know. It's hard to tell when this is supposed to take place. The editing too, like there'd be long ass shots, and then it would just like there'd be rapid fire like strobe light effects. Like it would throw text at you sometimes. Like. Yeah, it didn't give a fuck. There weren't rules for this movie.
No, it cut away. There were not rules. Yeah. It cut away a lot.
But there was also like a good pattern to it, even if you don't understand it. Like it still worked nicely. Where like when they would do the transfusion or whatever, there would be these colorful images.
That was awesome.
Like these sort
of flame heart, the flame dragons, and then one time it like transitions to like the back glittery thing of her bathrobe.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that was cool. Like at the dragon part.
Yeah. It didn't just feel like art house in the sense of, we're just going to do this and that's going to be neat. It felt more coherent.
Mm-hmm. There was some of that. There was some of that in there.
Oh yeah, I know. But
whereas like we're just going to show this random thing now because it accents this moment.
Right.
A tiny bit.
But it still felt folded in, whereas opposed to like the true art house thing is like, here's a penis.
Oh,
whatever,
right.
Like why? This movie never had me going why. It was like, because it wants me to feel this way, and I am, so it's working.
Yeah. Did you guys like the what was that?
The chicken? The chicken out of the belly button? Is that what you're going to say, TC?
No, not the chicken out of the belly button, but the
that was nasty. Holy
when
shit.
She's taking out her spinal fluid, and then it gets like more and more infected. They even montaged it where like she was coming in day after day after day.
So many needle shots,
dude.
And this
and it was so close.
Yeah.
And the kid next to me kept getting worse. Like every time he was like, "Oh," and then the next one was like, "Oh," and then the third one was just like, "Oh no!" And he was like actually screaming. And his girlfriend and the friend were laughing at him because he was like really not having a good time with it. And it was pretty nasty.
Oh, it was so gross. That was one of the best. Like I was surrounded with people, and I could like tell there were some scenes that really got some people, like the shrimp eating scene. Some people were like,
"Oh, that was so gross, wasn't it? Oh, that was so disgusting.
It was nasty,
yeah. Oh man,
Quaid did such a good job.
And then the shot they show after when he gets up and he walks away, and then they cut back to the plate, and it is full. I mean, just
shrimp massacre. It's like
of shrimp, and I am not a shrimp fan really, and that was just
I love shrimp, and that was so disgusting to watch.
It was so gross, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Just the lip smacking noises and like the way how wet his mouth was, and the
and normally like I kind of can hate that stuff because it just feels so gratuitous and designed to just make you feel something. Like there's a Lord of the Rings thing that's kind of annoying. Where he's just like eating and they keep.
I used to put that at the top of like grossest eating scenes, but I think this movie takes the crown.
No, this one's it. But this doesn't. This in the context of this movie, it works.
It's because the movie's angry that men get to do this to women all the time, and it wants you to experience it because it fucking is angry at you.
Like normally the gratuitousness is like cheap. It's like kicking puppies. It's like easy to do. And so it's like, you're gonna make me feel disgusted because you're just gonna zoom in on somebody's mouth as they eat and give me a lot of lip smacking sounds. Yeah, good for you, but it's easy. And so that's why it's kind of annoying when it's
But
just
this
like
drove the
gratuitous,
point
right?
home in a good
But
way.
John, you're saying it's
I
easy.
know.
The
I was
idea of
gonna
that is
say.
easy, but the execution is the tough part. You could have
No,
in the
but-
movie someone kicking a puppy, but not show the puppy being kicked, just imply it, and that's one thing. But if you wanted to actually show a puppy getting kicked and really upset the audience, that would be a
Over and
lot
over
harder
again.
to do.
Well,
Right.
And
I know.
the trick that I noticed they did a lot, and which is great, is the dynamics between them eating really heavy, really fast, really loud, lip smacking to like quiet. And then it would cut back to her. And every time it cut back to her, it would be almost silent. And then the soundtrack or the score would be almost minimal there. And it would slowly build back up. So the trick worked on a regular basis
it
in this
is. And
movie.
it doesn't-
and the
it
same with the
doesn't feel-
zoom ins,
Yeah.
where they
Yeah,
would
yeah.
zoom in and hold, and then zoom in and hold, and zoom in and hold. And you'd be like, okay, I don't need to see this again. But they kept doing it.
Right,
And
and
then
they're
all
like,
of a
"Fuck you.
and then
Doesn't
all of a
matter."
sudden it would cut to a whole different scene and it would be zippy again. So it was like almost like bringing you in a rhythm and then changing up your mind
Until it
real
did,
fast.
like the scene where
And-
she's doing the ass dances, and it does the opposite thing where everyone pauses everything, and then they start going frame by frame.
I
through
love
the
that.
shots.
How funny
That
was
was
that?
fucking
Like, hold
hilarious.
on, we just need to get this on the screen. It's like, why?
Wait,
What
why
made
didn't
you
they-
want to show it in front of
but also-
everybody?
Yeah,
Oh, that
I'm
was so
surprised
funny,
they
though.
didn't, they didn't see the bulge, and that was supposed
No,
to. That didn't.
Director
You weren't
saw
supposed
something
to-
weird.
Yeah, but I thought that
Oh,
meant they
man,
were
that
gonna,
was
like,
actually a
you know,
bulge.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not
that-
sure.
Or maybe she imagined it.
I think she
Was
imagined. I mean,
like-
that whole thing was a dream
Yeah.
sequence, right? Because as soon as she pulled the chicken out, she woke up in the room.
Right.
That's
right?
true. Right.
It was.
right,
It's like
okay,
there's
yeah.
some weird thing that kept happening when they were switching, because the other one was having weird nightmares like that too.
That's
when
true.
She was
So there's
switching
like
over.
these elements.
There's like
there's
an
a
issue
surrealness.
there, yeah.
Right, yeah, that's fair. So that's actually, yeah, that makes sense.
Does it? Does it make sense, John?
Well,
I mean, it
no,
makes sense in the sense of the movie,
Sorry,
but it doesn't make
works.
sense
It,
in
it
the
worked.
sense
It
of
worked. Yeah. I mean, if you want to, the premise is preposterous anyway. So you're okay once you're going along with
Yeah.
that. Anything else? You'd be, hey, they shouldn't be laying on a hard floor. They'll get compartment syndrome after a week. You can't do that. You can't be passed out for 7 days. No, whatever. But it doesn't matter, right? So, but I do like for those other sequences to not, that anything can happen then. Like she pulls the chicken out of her stomach. Well, that didn't really happen, but it's part of this whole transition thing where they're like moving back and forth between each other, right? So it gives them a lot of leeway to do this stuff. I think that's what's amazing to me is they get away to get away with some of this stuff that would seem cheap or just manipulative or annoying,
Or
in
stupid.
a lot of other
or
cases.
just completely
Or
stupid.
right?
just dumb,
Right,
like a bad gag.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
I
It
think
was
that-
fine.
But they're doing that over and over again, and it's working because I think because of the intensity of film, and also just like they're embracing it wholeheartedly. Like this is what we're doing. We're going to shove everything in your face, and it's going to be gratuitous. It's going to be intense, and that's everything. We're not just doing it once in a while for shock value. We're going to fucking do this all the time.
But for shock value.
But also,
Yeah.
And then
shock
somehow
value.
we're going
Yes,
to keep escalating
but
it. And then in the last
right,
half an
yeah,
hour,
but-
we're going to escalate
but-
it to a
but-
degree.
It's not
you
only
don't
are
even-
you going to be shocked,
It's not
but you're
just-
going to be
but-
bewildered as well,
Right.
and really
But
not
it's
know
not
what
like-
you just saw. But
I
hey,
guess it's like having a jump scare out of nowhere versus like this is all jump scares. I don't know. It's like our whole premise is jump scares, and that's like very central to somehow the meaning of the say you had a film where the central meaning was jump scares somehow, and that's kind of how this feels. It's like the stuff that other films might do to sometimes just pull your strings because it's easy to do. This film is doing all the time. And it gets away. It feels deeper than that. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel like you're being manipulated because somehow it's all very cohesive and it feels meaningful, even though it's beating the shit out of you. So I don't know. To me, it's just remarkable that it pulls it off.
And they agree too, because I watched, there's a pretty good interview. It's like, this is a new movie, so there's not too much trivia on it, but there was a good half an hour long interview on Collider. You could find it on YouTube. And it's at TIFF when they were interviewing there, and it had the two lead actors and the writer, director, producer, who's all the same person. And she was talking about how she and Demi Moore both shared this opinion that in reading the script, they thought, it goes so crazy at the end that this movie could be terrible. Like it is very possible that how extreme it goes, it could all fall apart at the end easily. because it is a huge
And
swing. It's a giant swing.
I mean, it did
but the
kind of take me out of it a little bit as far as the story was going, but then I ditched it and didn't care.
Yep.
I think that's what, that's what ended up, they got lucky with, like, it's so crazy. And, you combine that with fucking this ridiculous, just sort of lead up to that part. I don't know. It didn't bother me once I was at the end.
It did,
And in the middle of it, but when I was changing over, when it was moving like into those weird scenes, at first I was kind of like, oh, what the fuck is this? Right. And then by the end, I had been so like, I forgot all about the beginning of the movie and it didn't even fucking matter anymore. And so it was ended up being like, I felt tension. I kind of felt a release. What worked for me into getting into a happier mood is that I felt so tense for Demi Moore's character. And as soon as she, especially when she started transforming into the whatever the fuck she was transforming into, I was like, oh no, the Sue character is going to keep stealing her life. Oh no, this is all going to get worse and worse. But by the time I realized at a point just before she was the troll monster that like, this is all going to go to shit. What do I think I'm watching here? This is a horror movie. It's going to go to shit. I was like, this is happening. I can relax now because this is going to happen, This
is just going to happen. Let her go. Yeah.
But I was really tense before because I didn't want Demi Moore's character to turn into the monster for a long period of time.
Right. Again.
Once she started losing her finger there, I was like, she's fucked.
Yeah. To Demi Moore's credit, that you're really sympathetic to her, right? Even though she's instigating.
Even though
it's
her. Right. That's the best part, right? It's her. I mean, the conversations on the phone were funny. Because like the drug dealer is like the therapist too.
That was pretty good.
Just like,
do you want to stop?
Do you want to stop? Okay, then stop. Or don't do that. Or don't fucking screw yourself over because that's what you're doing.
Right. And again, it is a powerful moment in the film that she's still, even if it's not her, even if she sacrifices so much, she can't deny it. Even if it's somebody else loving her, somebody else having the fame, even if it's something of her, then she can't let it go. And the same thing with Sue, again, which the film really hammers you over the head with, right? Before the monster is created, she would rather transform yet again than let go of the potential of being, loved or being worshipped for how she looks and who she is. And that was pretty powerful.
That's Hollywood in a nutshell, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know, but it just that the movie again. This is what it wants to do, and its intensity makes it work. I think like this could have been like you said, Danny. You can see their worry of like this just seems like some kind of B horror movie, a schlock, a sort of horror movie, in that it's like it does this weird thing at the end, and then.
I think it's because it takes it at seriously. Like it doesn't think of it as a joke. Like it doesn't turn into a joke by the end, even though it's kind of funny at some parts. Like
no, it goes off the rails at the end. But the I think the intensity feels like it's there the whole time. It too. I mean, it doesn't feel like all of a sudden it's really intense and fucked up. Like, and otherwise it's just kind of normal and calm and a little weird. But the intensity of the film is almost the same, even when it gets fucked up and weird. It doesn't feel like we've like changed the amount of tension in the film or the amount of like the or at least for me, like I was like tense all the way through. And so maybe that helps it too. It's not like, it
changed. I don't know. I'll disagree with that because it changed for me at some part in the movie. I think it's when she injected herself. I didn't know if it was actually happening or not anymore. I thought it kind of like jutted off into kind of a fantasy world type of thing. I don't know. TC, did you get that at all? Like, I don't know. Her walking down the street as the monster, I was like, this can't be happening. And then like they let her in the building and I was like, what the fuck is going on right now?
I don't know what that was about. I stopped caring at that point because it didn't make any sense and it didn't have to, I guess.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, we're led to believe that this is a monster now. So I guess she's taking a trip. And of course she ended up back on stage. And like, you would never be able to do that. None of it's believable, and none of it has to be. So I guess that's fine.
Doesn't matter though. Watch the blood spray. Watch her spray. It doesn't matter.
And then all of a sudden, there goes the blood, folks. And then Jesus Christ,
what live New Year's Eve special do they have topless women anyway?
Pretty surreal.
Right.
Whatever.
Right. None of it was believable.
Yeah.
Right. But what if they had done again? There are other horror films that we really like, where maybe the first half to a third is pretty normal
Hereditary.
with a little creepiness. right?
Yeah.
So Hereditary doesn't shove shit in your face and get all intense. This film does, even as it's building up to stuff. It's weird, right? The way that it approaches everything is weird and intense. So even if it's, she's just walking down the street or the neighbor's talking or whatever, it's fucking weird because of the way they're deciding to make everything intense. That's really different. And I think that the film wouldn't have the impact it had. It would be very different if they went for a more normal presentation and approach, maybe up until the point where it gets fucking weird.
For sure.
And I think
it would be a lot harder.
It'd
be harder to swallow the end for sure, and it wouldn't be as good. And the parts leading up to the end, most likely, I wouldn't think.
But it works for a lot of these other films. Interesting, like Hereditary, it works really well. Some of these other films that have the slow beginning and you're sort of in a normal spot, and then at some point you just go into crazy town. Like Hereditary is kind of big in that.
I mean, we're talking about as if like before the middle of the movie, somebody crawling out of the back of somebody else isn't pretty fucking crazy. So like even if you get that seriously, that's already pretty damn weird.
Good point. Yeah, that's
it
fair
might get really crazy by the end, but like it's pretty fucking weird the whole time.
We're already in crazy town right there, right? Where she's sewing up the back. And again,
I know.
You know
and then
every needle, every single one.
And she wakes up.
You know
for
what?
fuck's sake,
you could do one, and then you could just cut off. We get it. We get it. You're gonna sew up the
let's do a
fucking
second
back.
and a third. At least they jump to the end.
I think that was
though.
the first part of the movie where it was like, this movie resents the audience. Like they are torturing us. We get it, and they're just doing almost every single needle. There's something this person wants to get off their chest.
See, I was thinking about it as a different. I was thinking about it as like a power thing. Like I can do this to you.
Isn't that kind of the same
like
thing?
I hate you.
No.
I felt the same way, but mine had a little tinge of extra. Like I'm doing this to you because I can, and I don't like you.
For you add the I don't like you part, Denny. Which
I didn't get the I don't like you part.
I don't know what it says about you, but
I don't know.
I was thinking
like
more
the
like
energy.
they were. I was thinking more like he's just one of those people, or whoever the director is. They're one of those people that just wants to show more, and no matter what you do, you can't get him to edit it the fuck out. You know what I mean? And he's just like, no, it has to be in there. And everyone's like, but we get it. And he's like, yeah, but do you? Do you get it, though? I don't think we need one more.
I don't know. Second, you spent 3 days getting these shots. I want to put them all in there.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just like, no, I want to show it. So I didn't get the I don't like you part. But
no, it's not the I don't like you, but I definitely
that first bit this is what I love, and I'm going to show it.
Right, and it does it consistently.
And
if
I shot
just
it
once
so
or
show
twice,
it.
it would be annoying.
Well, I'm angry at you. It's that
does.
I think so. The director, from what this is all just me thinking about this. She is a woman, and what women have to do to stay relevant in the movie industry, which she's in, they have to sew themselves up. They have to stick themselves with needles. They have to torture themselves. And they have to do this. And we are sitting there watching them, expecting things out of those women sitting in our comfortable seats. And she's like, I have to become extremely uncomfortable, poke and prick myself and torture myself. I'm going to fucking torture you too, because you don't appreciate how much.
I think this is all up in your head, Denny.
It's not. You can. I mean, I'm kind of reading into her words from the interview as well. But like, she had a lot of reason to make this.
I'm sure it is that is how it is.
Yeah.
There is no doubt about it. And there's always someone behind you that's ready to take your spot.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and at the very least, even if it did make up, then all the evidence is there, so I can go ahead and keep believing it, no matter what you guys say.
You're right.
No.
I didn't get it. Yeah, when I watched it. Yeah.
Margaret was really good. I can't
was.
imagine how uncomfortable it must have been to have the camera pointed at her fucking ass and crotch in those outfits for hours at a time as she bent over.
I know.
I'm sure she was fine.
No, she wasn't. No, she wasn't.
This is like
doubt
the most, again.
That was sarcasm.
But again, I was impressed how non-sexual that could be. Given the film,
not in the moment, though. I'm sure. Like that's tough.
I know.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was again the intent of the film, which is kind of impressive. They don't want they want to show this as almost disgusting, like
almost
almost
actually. Well, I'm sorry, you're right, but just all like just this.
You're not allowed to enjoy it. You can see that she's attractive, and you can see that. You in another situation you would like it, but in the way they frame it, you can't enjoy it, and neither can she or Demi Moore.
I perfect. That's exactly right, Denny. I like that. I like this idea. You're not allowed to enjoy it.
You should, and you should, but you can't.
You're right. It's
Because of the
this is
context.
objectively a very attractive female, but right. But there you are, the way it's being presented in the context of the film that you're not allowed to, which again, that's
It's a fucking masterpiece,
film,
man. This movie in
I
so
was
many
gonna say,
ways
like,
works on like some insane level. And you could read into it for days. And I have been. I've been thinking about
That's
this
true.
movie nonstop since I saw it on Sunday. And it's just a depth of symbolism and meaning that you could easily, and a lot of it's intentional too. So it's not just like some random accident.
No.
It's like
that's like clear. Like this isn't like this isn't a visual fucking poem.
Right. It just happens to make sense. No, there is absolute intention behind a lot of this, if not everything, and it works. Even though most of the movie, what you're watching is somebody standing in a bathroom in front of a mirror, really, right? Like that's a lot of it. Yeah,
that's true.
a lot of good
There's a
sets
lot of
though.
that.
You've been doing all that. Each area is nicely done. Like whether
stylized.
it's the bathroom.
It looks
exactly
weird.
like again. Yeah, it does. Maybe it reminded me a little of the red bathroom. Harken back to the red bathroom doors in The Shining, right? Yeah.
When Jack spills a drink on himself and him and the bartender go in there, or no, the bellhop or whatever.
Yeah, totally made me think of that. But the hallways, they have the hallway with the posters, or the home, or the bathroom.
That was almost like a Wes Anderson. I thought, like the corridor seemed kind of like that.
I love Wes Anderson to make a horror film. That'd be great.
So does the internet. Have you seen?
It'd be cute. It'd be very cute.
Yes. Bill Murray is an axe murderer.
It sounds like a great movie. I don't know. Are we joking here or are we pitching something?
Are we pitching? Are we joking? Yeah, right. Let's write this down. I think the transcript's going.
Come on, Wes.
Just tell AI to write a Wes Anderson, Bill Murray horror movie. See what comes out. Start there.
That's right.
Actually, it'd probably be pretty good.
That's right. Well, what else you got, Denny?
I got trivia.
All right, let's hear
it. A couple more scenes I wanted to mention. Speaking of, repeating things over and over again, the kicking to death scene was pretty brutal.
Again, but again, on par with the rest of the fucking film.
Except for that whole scene was really intense. I was kind of laughing.
She's dying. She's beating her up. I fucking get it. I get it.
She's killing herself. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. On board. Got it.
I thought it was really some of the changes, like when she's turning into the troll or when she is the troll, her knee doesn't work. She walks really slowly. And then all of a sudden, when she's pissed, she grabs Sue's body out of that little refrigerator she built and sprints down the corridor, drags her down the stairs. Like, that was just nightmare-inducing shit. I'm like, where did this speed come from? I don't understand this. The shot of her head bouncing off the stairs was top-notch.
It really was.
People in the theater were like, whoa! Like, how are you getting this? What is happening right now?
Yeah. The guy next to me said, "Why is she so fast?"
There's no answer. Fucking watch it.
You get pissed enough, and even the ogre can be fast.
Yeah.
It was like a nightmare, man. Like, it didn't make any fucking sense, and it was just weird, scary imagery that just changed all the time towards the end. The scene where they got into the fight with each other, when she freaking Tarantino kicked her into the picture.
Oh, yeah.
People laughed pretty hard when that happens because it was so ridiculous, the fact that she could kick so hard.
Mm-hmm. Came out of nowhere. It wasn't there before.
Absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, they're like, we need to do some wire work. Fuck it. Right?
When one of the dudes
get one shot.
When the dude she was sleeping with went to go help her in the bathroom when she transformed or whatever, he's like, "Who is that?"
He's like, "Who is that?" I laughed.
Yeah, that was pretty good. John, no laughter in any of this stuff.
No, I was up tense
when he ran out of the door. It was pretty funny.
It was.
I'm sitting there curled up in my seat. I can't be like, no, it doesn't work. I'm too tense.
Yeah, that's basically all I got. All right, trivia time.
What do you got?
So let's see here. Writer, director, her name is Coralie. That's her first name. She's a French director. She hasn't worked too much. She did a movie back in 2017 called The Revenge. I saw it back when it came out. It was pretty good. So she's, you know.
Was it like this?
Nothing.
Did it have the intensity that it says? No.
I think it might have been trying to, but no. But that's not to say that it's not a good movie. So yeah, her when she was asked what the basis idea to make this movie was, she said that the fact that you have no choice to chase youth, appearance, and for women specifically to give birth, and how that's a part of your identity, and how that image is put on every woman from like childhood, and how when you're a child you fear it because you're afraid of what it is to be a woman. When you're a woman, you fear it because you're afraid of if you're meeting the standards, and then when you get older, you fear losing it. So like your entire life is based on fear because of these standards that are put on you by men, specifically by men.
I didn't even think of the birth sort of thing too. The idea if you want to throw that in there in terms of like you have a daughter that replaces you.
Your purpose is to give children, and once that's gone, you are fucking useless.
Right. And these people replace you in youthfulness and beauty. Anyway, yeah. I mean, certainly look at the political climate right now, where a certain faction seems to believe that's really the value of women. The sole value is that you have and take care of children and your husband. Basically, that's what you do. So
the Stone Age, man, it's where we're going. Hooray! Yeah. She also said sarcasm there. If that wasn't fucking obvious.
Yes.
So it's based on her own life. She used the phrase "the violence of aging" multiple times. Not exactly sure what that means, but
well, just the idea that you're being slowly ravaged by time,
that's a hell of a way to put it. Yeah.
Right?
Ravaged by time.
I'm gonna go ahead and just jump off a roof after this one. Yeah, thanks.
I mean,
oh man,
especially that's your identity and how you. I mean, look at what celebrities do, especially the women, the Botox, the cosmetic
suicide,
surgery, right? Yeah.
I would like to point out that no one's forcing them to do it.
They're being forced by society, by what they're surrounded with every day in everyone's perspective.
The pressure is there. The point is, the point is though, is that
you will in a year, TC, they will be forced. Anyway,
no. But the message is definitely that their value is their looks. That if they do not have their looks, they do not have value.
If you choose to be in
the movies, no, but it does translate.
Right.
Other places, people do trust attractive people more, in general, across the board.
Sure.
They even you can be dumber, and if you're better looking, you'll have more advantage in life. It goes across the board.
But also, it's a lot harder for women. You can be a man and age gracefully. You can. We have a lot, even in Hollywood.
I mean, Demi Moore, 60. She fucking aged.
You can
gracefully.
be a woman and age gracefully too. I don't know.
You can. I was saying though, it's less less common, less acceptable. I guess. I don't know.
Sure.
But yeah,
because women are sexualized throughout their walks of life, in general, in society.
Their value is their youth and their beauty. And then when that fades, So yeah.
Oh, and the value of men is their status and their money.
Yep.
Sure.
Right. And that doesn't go away. Hurrah!
And that doesn't go
grows
anywhere.
As you get older. So, yay, being a man.
Yeah. Right.
We need an intense film about being poor as a guy.
It's called Cinderella Man.
It didn't come out.
It's got Russell Crowe in it. It was pretty good. You got to punch people.
If
you run out of money and you're a man, you got to punch people.
You just go beat shit people up.
And if you're not big like Russell Crowe, you are fucked. That's what being a man is. Yeah. So they asked her the question of how you came up with the idea of this movie, like the theme and the tone and stuff. And she said she came up with images and sounds first. So she the soundtrack and what kind of sound she wanted, what kind of gross sounds and what kind of images. So a lot of the individual things that you see in the movie, she came up with first and then kind of built the script around the sounds and images that she had solidified as something she thought was interesting to represent her ideas on this topic.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I didn't realize this, but they talked a lot about how there's not a lot of dialogue in this movie.
You didn't realize that?
I mean, looking back on it,
Demi
I'm an
Moore
idiot.
Basically says nothing.
While I was watching it,
most of the time.
You should be talking more.
I mean, there's not a lot of gratuitous talking. There is certainly a lot of gratuitous action.
But when the talking happens, it's fast and it's a lot. So I mean, it kind of, I guess it evened itself out.
That's true.
I mean, I agree. There's not a lot of talking, but
but the movie feels so fast paced that you don't feel like it's slow or that there's not a lot happening. So That's interesting. But yeah, there's probably you'd think I didn't notice either. I see your point. It's not like I sat there and watched this film and go, wow, people are.
Yeah, this is like a silent film or whatever.
I noticed.
Yeah,
right.
I noticed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, part of the
I was like, wow, we're just gonna follow her around for a bit, huh?
Oh yeah.
she's gonna go into that door.
Listen.
Oh, I wonder what's in
All
there.
right,
Better
all
look
right,
around.
yeah, go in that door. That makes sense. That seems like a good idea. Yeah. She didn't say anything when she got in either.
But so that was the way the script was. This movie won the best script at the Cannes Film Festival. And Demi Moore knew there wasn't a lot of dialogue, and her character, she wanted to do a really good job. And usually when she does a movie, she does research, but the dialogue in the filming, it helps you like realize where the character is. So like there would be a certain point in the filming of the movie with all the dialogue, seeing what the character's saying and things like that, that you kind of click with the character and it might make sense for the rest of the shoot. Like that might happen during the filming, but she knew with a minimum amount of dialogue in this movie that she'd have to get there herself before even stepping foot on the set, which apparently there was a lot of soul searching involved in that because I mean, she's basically, this is like her Birdman, right? Like this movie is about her.
Right. This is exactly.
Right.
So like she had to come to terms with a lot of this stuff and kind of create the character in her own head even before she went on set.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, my initial thought was, doesn't she kind of feel shitty for taking this role?
It's supposed to be
a role's a role.
It's supposed to be
right?
like a hopeful, eye-opening message to be like, because by the end, I mean, they kind of want to show people it's not worth it to like linger in the past. Like this crushing, like, role you're supposed to fill, it's not worth it. You don't have to do it, and don't fall down, because like if you do it, then you'll become a monster and you'll hate yourself and all this stuff. Like it's supposed to be like a warning.
While at the same
almost.
time also saying like, but you should still work in Hollywood. I mean, don't forget that. I mean, you shouldn't do the rest of it, but
I got the
Hollywood part-
opposite. I got the don't work in Hollywood. That's what I got out of
right,
it.
but I'm saying they're presenting it to you, right? They're the ones in charge of the art. Is Hollywood.
Yeah.
So like them making a movie is saying that. They're choosing the medium, right? So
they're breaking down the system from the inside, TC. This is the only way to do it.
No, that's not how that works.
Yeah, it's like what's his name
sorry.
becoming a lawyer in SLC Punk at the end. You got to break down the system from the inside.
It's no. I mean, I know what you're saying, but you got to remember that they're still making the movie.
Uh-huh.
So that's
Well,
the
if
thing
it makes
that's making them
it makes
the
you feel
money,
better.
which
This is
the thing
less.
that,
This is a third Hollywood. It's also a British and France production, so it's international, not fully.
I mean, I
Hollywood.
can see why they're a little bit more artsy too, with the French involved.
Yeah.
They get into these.
They allow
these depths. They get into those depths of the human psyche.
Was it Universal Studios? Some studio company, I think it was Universal, was signed to buy the rights to this movie after the screenings, and after a certain period of time, they bailed. They kind of bailed on the contract. They were like, I don't want to do this. This is too risky. We don't want to ruin our reputation by releasing this movie. Mubi, M-U-B-I, who I'm pretty sure have never distributed a movie before. I could be wrong there, but I've never noticed them.
Heard of them?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah.
They're like one of those cheap streaming. They're like Stars, kind of.
Really?
Yeah. But they bought this movie and they released it in theaters. So yay. Good job, Mubi.
Good job, Mubi.
Yeah.
Mubi, huh?
Yeah, M-U-B-I.
That's so weird.
They bought the rights for $17.5 million, and they own rights across the world.
Who are they, I wonder? It's kind of crazy.
I don't know. Some startup that has a streaming service with some movies.
It's a streaming service.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
So that's pretty weird.
interesting.
I mean, it's kind of cool. It's like all the
It
streaming
almost
shit
matches the movie, right? Like it's like so weird. It doesn't seem right,
Well, it's kind of the new landscape, right? Like that's kind of a new thing where it's these small streaming companies can now distribute movies, which gives it a bigger platform. Like I feel like that might, widen the platform. I feel like the platforms have been shrinking for a while.
They've had a lot of they distributed a lot of films though. Actually, though, if you look at them up, Mubi.
Okay. Anything you recognize?
No. Let's see. Let's get up to like
Steven Seagal movies exclusively, probably.
Jesus Christ. They're like these Turkish guys that
What the fuck?
do this streaming service. But I'm looking at the films here. There's a lot, but none that I like recognize. I mean,
They might have the
they're,
really cheap ones or something.
Well, or they might be foreign films or Turkish films or something too that I just don't know of. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never heard of them.
These are Italy and Austrian films. If I look at them, but there's a lot actually.
Because numbers are all that's important. Quantity, all that matters.
Yeah, well,
Volume.
something. But yeah, Austria, Germany, Turkey, Indian films. I mean, so these are more. I mean, they've been active, but they've just been
Different countries.
Yeah.
Stretching out. Good job, guys. Thanks for letting us watch this in the theaters.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I enjoyed the experience.
Both actors had to work out quite a bit to do this role. Margaret, she had to work out a lot because in the script it was a lot of, butt shots. Like she knew all of those shots were happening. So she worked out quite a bit and was very nervous about it. She knew where the camera was going to be. Her breasts were prosthetics in this movie.
Really?
Oh.
She felt kind of weird about that.
Wait. So she just was wearing prosthetic breasts?
And all of her nude scenes because her breasts are not that big.
Oh.
So they had her written in as a character as being very curvy with large breasts and nice ass and stuff. She's got the nice ass, doesn't have the large breasts. So those are fake. Those are some amazing.
I would not
fake,
have guessed that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign if we can't tell.
No, that prosthetic person. I mean, all of the prosthetics in this movie were out of control. They said at one point that this movie had the most prosthetic work since The Thing back in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
And she mentioned how the person, we had this trivia when we did The Thing, that prosthetic person was in a mental institution afterwards for a little bit because they drove themselves crazy trying to work on it.
Right.
They talked a lot about how hard it was to do the prosthetics, how it drove the timeline for everything because like the work would be done on certain prosthetics at certain times. So then you'd have to shoot the scene then. You'd waste a lot of time on a day-to-day basis putting Demi Moore into the prosthetics. Like you're just fucking wasting time waiting for her to get in that thing. She's in every single scene in this movie. You can't shoot other things. Right. Yeah. So she didn't recommend working with prosthetics, but she said if you, it obviously makes it look great, which is definitely true. Margaret practiced being Sue in her own house. Her husband did not like it.
Jesus Christ. Of course not.
Yeah.
What are you doing, a bit? Is this a bit?
You're making the children cry. Right. Jesus.
So because of the prosthetics mostly, it was a 5-month shoot, which is up there for lengths of shoot of any movie we've ever watched and gotten trivia on that length before. The prosthetics had AC hoses into the suits because they were in there for a long period of time. For some of the makeup, like even Margaret got into that last blob thing. She said when she had that mask on over the course of the day, tears and snot would start pouring out of your face and start disconnecting the mask from your face. And then you have the makeup people coming in and putting little glue things down like in your eye holes and your nose holes to like re-stick it back and then just congeal snot and tears and glue onto your face and you're hot and it's uncomfortable. And that's how you're shooting that shit.
No, thanks.
That sounds pretty intense. Demi Moore never complained. Margaret apparently complained.
Demi Moore's a stud.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a veteran. She's not gonna complain at this point. She's been through the ringer already, I'm sure.
Can't really blame her for complaining given the shit they're doing, man. Holy cow. I mean, I would whine quite a bit.
Well, we know you would, John. Yeah.
I know. I'm a wimp.
They said
this itches a little. It itches.
Yeah, they'd be like, John, we just put it on. Yeah,
I need to go to the bathroom again.
The glue just dried.
Right. 2 more pieces of trivia. Dennis Quaid ate 4 pounds of shrimp in that shrimp scene.
That's disgusting.
4 pounds of shrimp. And Ray Liotta was cast in this movie. It was announced he was cast in February 2022, and then he died in May 2022.
Oh, man.
Was he going to be Dennis Quaid's character?
I could see it.
Yeah, he would have been good.
Yeah, he would have been good.
It would have worked. Yeah.
Sad, though.
I mean, Dennis Quaid did great.
I haven't seen Dennis Quaid in fucking 20 years, and I'm like, holy shit, is that Dennis Quaid?
Didn't he fucking do the Reagan film?
I didn't see that one.
Oh, I don't know. He's done a few things lately.
Dude, he used to be, back in the 90s, he was huge. And I'm not sure I've seen him since the 90s. And then all of a sudden he pops up in this. I'm like, this is an odd choice.
He's been in bad movies or like TV movies.
Okay.
A lot.
Yeah. He's Dennis Quaid is Ronald Reagan in the Reagan film.
Is it called the Reagan film?
It's called Reagan.
Oh, nice.
Never heard of it. Not going to watch it.
What else? What's your last piece of trivia?
That was it. Ray Liotta. It was the shrimp one and then Ray Liotta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, top 250 guys. Would you put this in the top 250?
I think I might say yes because there's not much out there like it. So
answer the question, John. Top 250?
Yeah. It is. And when a film can do what it wants with you. I mean,
it have its way with you.
It's impressive.
For 2.5 hours, unbreakable. I feel bad for you, John. Me and TC are laughing by the end. You're just sitting there like cowering. Like, oh my God.
I was
like, yeah.
I mean, blood spray, and the people were like going on. I mean, screaming, the screaming scene. Come on.
The music
funny.
got really intense during that.
You can't take any of it seriously at that point.
It's got to be one of my favorite surprises I've ever seen in the theater was the end of this.
All right. Well, Denny,
I'm also going yes, obviously.
Denny? All right.
Obviously. Okay. Yeah, for sure. This movie is, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to rewatch it. I mean, this is this is going to be a classic. This movie is freaking incredible.
What are we doing next week?
Oh, I don't want to do next week. Can we skip next week, guys? Can we just ignore next
what is
week?
it?
We're going to watch2010. 2010.
How about we watch? Wait.
Nope, not watching
pass.
that one.
Wait, come on.
What? Wait, what? We're waiting. What do you want?
We're waiting. Hurry
I'm
up.
going to go see this Friday.
Transformers 1?
I don't have a choice, right? It's 7.9 IMDb rating right now with 6.9K ratings. Rotten Tomatoes has, what do we got here for Rotten Tomatoes for Transformers 1?
88. It's a cartoon.
It's got 88. I mean, come on.
Yeah. It'll be fun to watch. It doesn't mean we can talk about it for over a half an hour.
Well, I could probably do it. And we could get Alex on. Well,
I mean, you could, John.
Alex could get on here.
Could.
He could do a review.
Yeah.
It's Transformers is his favorite thing. Well, let me go see it Friday, and I can kind of report back on that.
Do that because I have a date night babysitting. So if it is good, me and Naomi might go see this together on Saturday. So if you see it Friday, let us know.
Yeah.
If not, it's Inception time. We got to get it over with, guys. Gotta watch it at some point.
Yeah. It's
Inception. It is.
It's doing well. I think. Is it doing well at the box office?
No.
John, we're not going to see this. All right. So just get over it.
Nobody wants to watch a cartoon Transformers.
Nobody's going to see that. And that's just the end of it.
It's his birthday.
Right? Go to bed.
They're cars and they're robots. Come on.
I don't want to watch the robots.
I don't want to watch
But
it.
they're not just robots, they're cars and robots. Get it? They're both cars and robots.
For someone that only gets to watch Paw Patrol, Transformers is a giant step up. Is what I'm
That's
getting
true.
out of
I
this.
guess that'll be you soon enough,
Yeah.
Denny. Don't you worry. All right, boys.
We're doing Inception.
Next week, we're doing Inception.
Sorry,
we'll see you
John.
later. Have a good night.
See you later, guys.
Goodbye.
See you guys.